Welcome to Indexia Technologies, a new AI-powered software that is designed to accelerate backup book indexing. I'm a first-time author of an academic book, and I have a background in tech. As I was preparing an index for my book, I was surprised by the limited availability of software that could automate the backup book indexing process. I encountered AI and machine learning tools to do indexes that were superficial and often downright unreliable. And that inspired us at Indexia to create something new. We've adopted a data-driven but human-centered approach to extracting and understanding information in a book at the click of a button. And so, let's dive into that with Thomas Paine's common sense. I'm going to click this button here, and we can start extracting terms from this manuscript. After about 5 minutes, our AI system has extracted the terms that it deems to be important in this book. And now I'm going to walk you through exactly how it's displaying that information. On the right-hand side here, you can see we have an index viewer that has arrayed all of these terms in the manner of a professionally formatted backup book index that will give you a sense of what your final exported product is actually going to look like. And on the left-hand side, we have something that arguably is even more exciting. This is the term level viewer of our indexing system, which can really display an almost unprecedented amount of information about how terms and concepts are being used in your book. Let's start with Britain, which is the first term that you can see we've extracted here. And right off the bat, there's an AI-generated summary of exactly how Britain is being used in this source text. And we can go into the term viewer that is at a more detailed level here to see the exact kinds of mentions that Britain is getting throughout this manuscript. And in the especially salient cases, of course, we actually have AI summaries of how terms are being used on given pages even. What's really nice about this is that it can let you very rapidly verify whether a term is being indexed correctly. For example, let's go down to page 22 to see if Britain is being indexed correctly as a naval power with this subheading. And if we go into the text viewer here and scroll down to where Britain is being mentioned, lo and behold, you can see that this passage is talking about where Britain is exerting its naval force. So that subheader is actually quite accurate. Another useful feature of the term level viewer is that you can understand how terms actually relate to one another. If I go to Britain here and if I look at similar terms to Britain, you can see all of the other terms in our index and exactly how similar they happen to be to Britain. 2 of these terms are in the same group as Britain, which is something that I will get to in just a second, but for now, just taking the fact that England, for example, is being rapidly associated with Britain broadly, as is British politics, and a variety of other terms that happen to be related to Britain in the context of common sense. The group viewer that you can see here is really especially helpful. This is a part of our AI system that automatically can identify the groups of terms that happen to be similar to one another and display them front and center for you so you can decide what relationships these terms should have to each other. Right now, I'm operating on a pretty stringent filter here that is basically just putting together the terms that happen to be likely duplicates of one another. And I can take actions on that. For example, through this bulk actions panel here, I can transform these 3 terms that correspond to Great Britain into just a single term with a click of a button. And you can see that's just happened. Now Great Britain is associated with those 2 prior terms that I opted to go ahead and merge into it. Another nice aspect of this group computation is that you can always choose to recompute groups if you want to see different sorts of relationships. For example, I'm now going to go from very high just to high to get not just terms that are exact duplicates of one another, but terms that are instead getting at similar concepts, but that might still be listed as distinct from one another in an index, which is something that's really fantastic if you want to go ahead and create cross-references between related concepts in your index. For instance, here authority has been placed in the same group as God, which makes sense in the context of common sense. And if we would like to, we can go ahead and set God here as a cross-reference to authority. So that's really just a taste of what this software is able to do. But as you can see, you can very rapidly work through it with these features that we have to take this list of AI-generated terms that you have initially and transform them into a really sophisticated and interrelated system that actually is going to tell a compelling story in your index.